My parents were infamous for being slaves to their daughter in the entertainment circle. When I scored 50, my parents took me to the restaurant to celebrate. When my younger brother scored 90, my parents punished him to kneel all night to reflect. When I beat someone at school, my parents paid hush money. When my little brother was late for class, my parents punished him to write a review. Everyone praised my parents for favoring the daughter over the son. They criticized me for not respecting myself, for falling for a gangster, getting pregnant before marriage, and driving my parents to the hospital with anger, eventually dying from a difficult childbirth. Before my death, I heard my beloved parents coldly tell the doctor, "Finally, she's dead. We don't have to pretend to be a slave to the daughter just to please fans." My little brother despised me too. Who told her not to give me the endorsement? She got what she deserved by dying. When I opened my eyes again, I returned to the year when I was 13, holding a test paper with 50 marks. My parents were playing the role of slaves to their daughter in front of the camera. As long as our songbao is happy and carefree, it doesn't matter how high or low her scores are. 50 marks? That's really powerful. Just missed passing the test by a little bit. Daddy will take our good daughter out for a big meal. My dad is a little-known actor in the entertainment circle, and my mom is a female supporting actress who's never been popular. Their careers were lukewarm both before and after their marriage, until they had me, a daughter who inherited all their attractive features. When I was 13, I was taken by them to participate in a family live show called Having a Baby at Home. My parents successfully made a hit with the image of being slaves to their daughter, and they got their hands full with endorsements. In my previous life, I naturally believed that grades were not important since Mom and Dad not only didn't blame me for my low scores but even treated me to a meal. Eventually, I scored less than 200 in the cultural subject during the art test, and was even mocked as illiterate by the netizens. After being reborn, I refused to be indulged. I won't eat it. I'm going to study since I've scored so low. Upon hearing this, my parents were momentarily awkward. How could they highlight their open-mindedness if their daughter didn't go for the meal? If their daughter were to do her homework alone, how could they increase their exposure? Songbao, it doesn't matter whether you study or not. Mom and Dad just want you to have a happy childhood. My mom pretended to be comforting. Yes. Is studying more important than eating with Mom and Dad in Songbao's heart? My dad, whose face was disproved, looked unhappy. I forcibly suppressed my anger, not wanting to put on a pretentious act with my parents anymore. Indeed, studying is more important than eating. The live chat was instantly flooded with praises. Netizens praised my parents' teaching, saying they raised a sensible and smart daughter. If my son could be half as obedient and sensible as Songbao, I wouldn't have to get a heart transplant at this young age. My child scored for marks yet insisted on having braised lion's head. I tearfully served him a meal of bamboo whipped meat because of his stubbornness. Who among you understands? The child born to a 985 master's degree holder scored less than the body temperature in a Chinese test. Raising a child is not as easy as raising chickens. Songbao, keep going. 50 points isn't scary. You will achieve results as long as you strive hard. Looking at the support from the live chat, my parents looked unhappy, but their off-camera manager reminded them to maintain the daughter-slave persona at all times. Only then did they swallow their anger. My mother, with her skilled acting, listed a series of fruits and vegetables in front of the camera and declared that she would personally make a nutritional meal for her daughter in the kitchen. My father, not wanting to be outdone, afraid that the camera will be completely taken away by my mother, expressly mentioned that he will tutor me in my studies. I sat at my desk, my back to the camera. None of the cameras captured the suffocation in my heart. All the sweetness from my previous life turned into a deadly poison stuck in my throat. All the love turned into a deadly sword piercing into my chest at the moment of death. Realizing only at the end of life that I was living in Truman's world, listening to the footsteps getting closer, I clutched the pen in my hand tightly, yet I had to control my strength, fearing that I might poke their eyes out with the tip of the pen in a fit of anger, bellowingly questioning if the love from my previous life was fake, and whether they had a hand in getting me drugged by the punk. That cup of drink was personally brought by my mother, persuaded by my father to drink. I do not believe that they are truly ignorant. Fortunately, the actor's self-cultivation from my previous life allowed my complexion to return to normal the moment my father called me. It's as if I'm still that child from my previous life immersed in poisonous honey, knowing nothing. Song Bao, Daddy will teach you to study. You can ask Daddy anything you don't understand. My father spoke kindly to me, but always with his back to me, facing the camera. Of course, I know what he is up to. Thinking about his junior high school dropout education, I asked the hardest Olympiad question. Daddy, how do you solve this question? I handed the water-based pen to my father. Father confidently took the test paper, pointed to the table very close to the camera. Let's go there. The light is better over there. I certainly won't stop him from humiliating himself in front of the entire online audience. So we came to the desk very close to the camera, which happened to allow the camera to capture the test paper and father's face. Standing outside the camera, I urged, Daddy, you are the best. You surely have no problem with such a simple question. Father stared at the test paper already drenched in sweat. His high school diploma was purchased. He dropped out of junior high school to do trivial jobs, and he long forgotten the little knowledge he got from school. It was not only hard to solve the problem, but also hard to read it. Is junior high school math so difficult now? I knew I shouldn't have boasted. However, the praise of my daughter and the audience in front of the camera successfully put him on the grill. I certainly can. I will definitely be able. You give me some time to think. 30 minutes later, Father solemnly wrote a solution on the test paper, and even changed the knife in the solution to mouth, to highlight professionalism. He even added a colon after the word solution. And that was it. There was laughter throughout the live stream. The agents stared at the live broadcast room almost half dead of anger. The loyal daughter persona didn't take off, but the illiterate did. It's just that father still knows nothing at this time, concentrating on researching the problem. Just as mother came in with a plate of fruit, she smiled with her signature motherly smile. Song Bao, are you tired from doing homework? Come on, eat some fruit to replenish. I looked at the plate of kiwi. My eyes unconsciously dimmed. Kiwi is my younger brother's favorite fruit, while I love cherries and strawberries. However, the most common fruit in our home is kiwi. I know my mother is deliberately trying to irritate me, so that I can freak out in front of the camera and highlight her kind and good motherly character. In my previous life, I flipped the plate on the spot, and mother cried and apologized to me, and went out to buy cherries in the pouring rain and got sick and had a fever. Netizens scolded me for 3 months, and mother achieved her wish, and got the leading role of the kind mother in the movie thanks to the popularity. However, now I'm not foolish, and I even pretend to be pleasantly surprised, eating the sour kiwi little by little. Mom, you are so good to me. Thank you. Mom, mother looked a little strange, and kindly asked, Song Bao, is it sweet? Don't you love strawberries the most? Do you want Mom to go buy some strawberries for you? I smiled and picked up a piece of fruit and fed it into mother's mouth. It's so sweet. Don't you believe it? Try it. I don't eat strawberries. Don't go. Mom, I will be sad if you get sick from the rain. The sour taste attacked her taste buds. Mother's eyebrows furrowed due to the acidity. Her features squeezed together. The agent next to me coughed repeatedly to remind her. Afraid she'll break her kind mother image. Hearing the agent's voice, mother had to swallow the sour kiwi. She tried to smooth her smile to deal with the live broadcast. I can't stand soreness, but Song Bao likes sour food, right? She stared at me with a threatening look in her eyes. I know what she is afraid of. This variety show is her last chance to turn things around in the entertainment industry. Who made her act for 10 years and still be called the golden supporting actress, playing a leading role in one flop after another, so the motherly character cannot have any glitches. In my past life, my acting teacher said that my mother didn't even match up to me in terms of acting talent. I casually acted in a few plays and was praised by netizens for my God-given talent. only because my temper was too volatile and I was very controversial, often offending people. So my resources were sometimes good and sometimes bad. I showed better acting skills than my mother and laughed innocently. As long as the fruit is cut by mom, even the sour ones taste sweet. The netizens were warmed by my smile again, leaving comments en masse about where to pray to have such a sensible daughter. And I did not let everyone down. With one sentence I continued to explode the hot search. But kiwi is my little brother's favorite fruit. I think of my little brother when I eat kiwi. Mom, can you bring my little brother to join us on the show? I miss him. My parents' faces changed immediately, and their agents quickly signaled them to shut me up. With an innocent face, my mouth continued shooting like a machine gun. Dad, didn't you say that my little brother is the root of our family? Now that the root is not by your side, you must be heartbroken. Mom, we have prepared several boxes of kiwi at home, but it's a pity that my little brother can't eat them. Can we bring him over to eat together? Their words of sincerity left the two speechless. They indeed loved their son and felt sorry for him, but wanting to make it big in the entertainment industry, they had to set up a daughter-slave image, and liking their son would only be criticized as favoring males over females. What could they do? They even dared only to promote a family of 3, for fear that the audience would know that they have a son and ruin their image. After all, having a daughter and hoping for a son, no matter how justified the reason, the longing for a son in the depths of their hearts is evident. The audience is not fooled. When I revealed the existence of my little brother, the live broadcast room suddenly exploded. Turns out there's a son as well. I always thought there was something off about this family. Turns out it was all an act. Leave love to the daughter and money to the son. Take a look at this. Savor it. Just because they have a son, but only bring their daughter to star in variety shows, doesn't mean they indeed love their daughter. Maybe the son was born by accident. An accident, planning to have a daughter, but accidentally have a son. How are families who hope for sons supposed to live? Once again, because of my words, a wave of public opinion sprang up. The agent looked at the hot search hitting the charts and had to temporarily stop filming. As soon as the camera turned away, my parents changed their faces and stopped fussing over me. The director also gave me a meaningful look, finally handing me a business card. Kid, you have quite the penchant for stirring up trouble. You're suitable for the circle. If you want to act, remember to contact me. In contrast to my calm face, I thanked him politely after receiving the business card. The director indeed had a keen eye. In my past life, I'd make the hot search simply by taking out the trash. But my parents were always not popular, so they often stuck to me, hoping I would make them famous. In my past life, I shot many terrible films to help my parents gain resources. Yet they didn't appreciate it. They took it all for granted, even dragging me to drink with the big wigs to get better resources. However, no matter how many resources were thrown at them, they couldn't make a splash. Over time, investors didn't want to do losing business. My parents became more displeased with me, thinking I hadn't done my best to repay them. In this life, without my help, I want to see if good resources will fall into their laps while they sit at home. The controversy of family treasures reached its climax when the live broadcast was interrupted. Father Shisong doesn't know how to write. Father Shisong's middle school diploma. Shisong loves to eat kiwi fruit. Family treasures represents the new era of preferring boys to girls. Countless trending topics emerged, each scrambling to add heat to my parents. But my parents were arguing with their agents at home. Remove the trending search. It must be taken down. The director of Dear Mother is not answering my calls. It's because of these damning trendy topics. Tears streamed down my mother's face on the sofa. But the agent was very happy. We can't remove it. These are all hot topics. Look, have you ever been this popular since your debut? The father huffed and puffed in indignation. I'm almost being laughed out of the sky for being illiterate. The new professor role has been swapped out. All because the director said that an illiterate can't have the right feel for a professor. The agent was nonchalant. But you've received 7 or 8 variety show invitations. It's just a trivial role. If it's gone, it's gone. Just take a couple of variety shows and you can make millions. The parents' ideas clashed again with the agent and the company. But they never dared to defy the company. They could only vent their anger on me. Unfortunately, they were stopped by 2 agents. The female agent squatted down. "Little girl, do you want to be a star? You can wear beautiful dresses and sparkling jewelry every day. As long as you want. Auntie promises to make you a star who shines brightly." My mother's agent, Sister Joe, is a famously smiley tiger in the entertainment circle. I returned a smile. "Auntie, if you're so capable, why don't you become a star yourself? Do you not like beautiful dresses and don't love sparkling jewelry?" Sister Joe's smile froze on her face, and for the first time, she was left speechless by a little girl. Seeing this, the father's agent, Brother Zhu, laughed. "Kids these days are not so easy to deceive. Do you think she's as foolish as her mother?" Saying this, he moved forward, half squatting to my eye level. "Song Bao, just look at your parents and you'll know that you didn't inherit any smart genes. It's unlikely that your ancestral grave will emit green smoke in this lifetime. Why not become a star? Casually you could make a lot of money. Why bother making yourself so tired with studies?" His words were heart-wrenching and realistic, but I didn't fall for it. If the grades aren't good, you can still be a star. Why would my father be called illiterate and why was he replaced by the crew? The big agent Sue can't call her father stupid and self-righteous to her face, so he just had to swallow this bad air. The 2 big agents were both defeated, but the parents looked at me with disgust, reminiscing about the past. They begged and pleaded to play a small role, but now they're begged to have their daughter join a variety show and become a star. They were jealous but still needed to rely on their daughter's popularity. Just as the family was feeling anxious, the grandparents brought the little brother and knocked on the door. Daniu's wife, "I brought my precious grandson to see you." The precious grandson in the grandparents' mouths is their most prideful grandson, Shisui. As soon as the door opened, a chubby 5-year-old boy charged into the arms of his parents. "Dad, Mom, Grandma says you're going to take me on TV. Is it true? Great. I'll show all my classmates who's the boss." As soon as this was said, the parents were caught in a dilemma. Ever since it was revealed that they had a son, their daughter-only image has been shaken. If they bring their son to the variety show, wouldn't it prove that they favor sons over daughters? The parents looked at each other and saw each other's decisions. The mother didn't want to hurt her son's feelings, so she gestured for the father to speak. "Boy, it's not that Dad doesn't want to take you. It's to protect you that Dad doesn't want you on TV." The mother chimed in. Yes, yes, yes. Mom and Dad don't want you to work so hard. Mom will give you 30,000 more for pocket money. Okay. I snorted from the side, not wanting to make their son work hard, so pushing their daughter to the front as a tool person. In my previous life, as soon as Shisui debuted, he had the full support of his parents, insisting on not taking any bad films, and every role has to be positive. But he also inherited the cold body constitution from his parents, who never got popular, playing the second lead in more than a dozen serious dramas and still unknown. It wasn't until the news broke that he was the biological younger brother of popular actress Xianxia that he became famous. Shisui, with the support of his parents, stepped on me to do marketing. Countless netizens praised him for not wanting to take advantage of his sister's popularity. He did not reveal the relationship between siblings for several years of acting. His conduct was exceptional and he despised marketing. In reality, every drama he got was thanks to me, and the marketing cost was 7 digits. All down the drain. In this life, I fulfilled his dream of becoming famous when he was young. Mom, but little brother really wants to be on TV. You always say how much you love little brother. Can't you even fulfill his small wish? I stand by, lovingly looking at my little brother, also pulling the hands of grandparents, urging them to persuade my parents. The grandparents were very pleased with my actions. Daniu, how could your granddaughter be more sensible than you? Even she knows to help her little brother. Why are you unwilling to let Sui Sui on the show? Songbo is growing up. In the future, if there are any good opportunities, they should be saved for your little brother. You understand? Gazing at the grandparents' hypocritical smiles, I forced down the nausea and nodded. I understand. Shisui saw that the sister he hated the most supported him to be on TV. But the parents he loved the most were preventing him from getting famous. In a fit of anger, he kicked his father and climbed out of his father's arms. Meanies. You're all meanies. You're the bad people who won't let me be on TV. I will never like you again. I don't want you to be my parents. After saying that, he directly lay on the ground and rolled around, kicking his legs out. I don't want to live anymore. Let me die. Die. The father covered his kicked thigh, both angry and heartbroken. The mother was even more at a loss, not knowing what to do. The grandparents quickly squatted down to comfort their precious grandson. Sui Sui, good boy. Sui Sui is the most obedient. If mom and dad don't obey, hit them. Saying that, the grandmother reached out pretending to slap the mother, and my little brother stopped crying. This slap was just a light hit, but the mother was extremely disgusted with this way of education. Look, it's all you spoiling the kid at home. Whenever he disobeys, he rolls on the ground like a ruffian. The grandmother heard her daughter-in-law question her methods of education, and retorted immediately, if you're capable, you educate him. Who was the one that gave birth to the child and went to film? Who was the one who left the child with the grandparents without a word? Who doesn't bring their own son on the show? I've raised the child to be fat and white all these years. Even if I don't have merit, I've worked hard. Have you ever taught the child as a mother? The mother was left crying in the rain of accusations, unable to retort. The entertainment circle changes rapidly. If she doesn't go out and act, she will only become unknown faster. In the end, it was the agent's sister Jo who couldn't stand it and decided to let it go. If you want to go, just go. You're making my head ache. The scene was silent for a moment. Even the smallest brother understood immediately who was the boss, and started cheering. He even happily circled around Sister Jo begging for a hug. The parents muttered with their lips but could only swallow their concerns. Still, they wore worried expressions, worrying whether their son could adapt to live variety shows, and more afraid that his personality would attract criticism when broadcasted. Amidst the laughter, only the aged brother Zhu looked at me with a meaningful glance. 3 days later, the topic of family treasures. Shisong's brother Joins was once again lambasted by the public on the trending topics. The daughter-slave persona the parents started marketing with was too deeply rooted. Now that their persona has crashed, it would be weird if netizens didn't curse. Use the daughter to open the market, then pull the son in to reap the benefits. These calculations are too obvious. There was a loud noise in the sky, and the prince makes his shiny debut. Very good. From now on the prince will be called Shisong's younger brother. The father sat on the sofa, looking at the curses in his private messages, urgently contacting the marketing company to buy trending topics. Hurry up and buy a few trending topics to shift the spotlight. My son is still young. What if he gets psychologically scarred by being cursed? But the money can't be wasted. Just buy my daughter's trending topics. What type of trending topics? Of course, the more controversial the better. For example, scoring 50 on a test. Isn't it a great topic? You ask me if I'm crazy. Of course, I'm not crazy. The heat that can be had for free. My daughter will thank me. After hanging up the phone, the father had already planned to use me as cannon fodder to attract the spotlight, in order to save him and his precious son. However, how could I let him get what he wants? Inside the room, I held my phone and sure enough saw the new trend. Shisong, 50-point celebrity second generation. Does the entertainment industry really need illiterates? I immediately logged into my account, shot the test paper on the table, forwarded 2 topics and captioned, "The entertainment industry doesn't need the illiterate. I will also strive to study and strive not to live up to everyone's expectations. As a second-generation star, I am ashamed of not being a positive guide. Therefore, I decided not to enter the entertainment industry. Home Sweet Home will be my last variety show. In an instant, the likes soared. Another trend. Xianxia not entering the entertainment industry topped instantly. In my previous life, I never liked the flamboyant lifestyle of the entertainment industry. If it wasn't for my parents and brother, I would have left the industry to travel the world long ago. Now that I have a chance to start all over again, I will live as I desire. A minute later, I successfully heard my parents screaming, "Xianxia, what are you doing? Xianxia, you get out here." Behind the door, I heard the agents whispering and my parents shouting loudly. Opening the door, I looked naive. "Dad, Mom, what's up?" The expressions of the two agents became more profound when they saw me. But the parents were furious. "What's up? What the hell are you doing with your phone all day? Not entering the entertainment industry. I worked so hard to get you on the show. Am I doing it for nothing? Give me your phone. From now on, I will manage your account." I obediently handed over my phone. "Okay, but I have already cancelled the account." "What?" Like a thunderbolt in the sky. The couple couldn't believe their ears. They picked up their own phones and logged on to Weibo only to discover that their daughter's account with 10 million fans had been deactivated. The mother was so heartbroken that she wished she could slap me. "Do you know what you're doing? 10 million fans. I've never amassed so many fans in my over 20 years of debut." The father was even trembling. He shoved his phone into my arms, his forehead bulging with veins. "Register an account for me again. Say everything you said earlier were angry words. Hear me? Damn it. I don't allow you to quit the entertainment industry. Register." The money tree just starting to bloom wanted to die? He would never allow that. Holding the phone, I squeezed out a few tears. "I don't want to. I got called illiterate online. I only knew that the audience didn't like me when I saw the trend. Since no one likes me, why should I go into the entertainment industry and get scolded? I might as well not participate in variety shows. I want to go to school. I want to go to school." Hearing the reason for my account deactivation, the father felt everything go dark in front of him. He swayed back 2 steps. He couldn't believe it was because he bought a few trending topics and succeeded in killing off the money tree. "It's just a few words. You won't lose a piece of meat. People scold you because you're hot. If you can't even take this small amount of negative public opinion, are you even my Xianxia's daughter?" I immediately burst into tears, looking pitiful. "But I really can't bear it. Daddy, am I really not your daughter? Mommy, who's my real father? Can you tell me?" The mother couldn't stand it anymore and slapped the father. "It's all your fault. What bullshit trending topics? Now it's good. Millions of promotion fees wasted. Are you happy?" The angrier the father, the more he likes to fling mud on others. "You dare to hit me? Xianxia's temper is so troublesome. She might not really be my seed. You're used to climbing beds. I don't know how many green hats I have worn on my head. I've endured this for so many years and you actually hit me." The couple immediately got into a quarrel and started throwing hands with no regard to their children. The couple has long had grudges, only lacking an excuse to express dissatisfaction. The grandparents took the little brother and hid in the room, probably bad-mouthing the mother. I retreated to my room, leaving the battleground to the two of them. In the end, it was the two agents who had to persuade and separate the couple. 3 days later, Family Treasures was broadcast again. After several rounds of trending topic bombardments, the number of people in the live broadcast room successfully exceeded 10 million, becoming the hottest variety show. Countless people sat in front of their phones, waiting to see the true face of the prince. I sat in the middle of my parents, wearing a beautiful dress sponsored by the sponsors, exquisite down to every strand of hair having its own curvature. The parents put on hypocritical smiles, each holding one of my hands. They wanted to shape me into the family's little princess, expressing their determination to prefer their daughter even if they had a son. The sweaty hands, the rough calluses on the hands made me nauseous. My little brother sat on the far side, near my mother, seeing my parents holding my hands, but tossing him aside. He pouted dissatisfied. "Dad, Mom, I want to sit in my sister's position. Tell her to leave right now." Just then the door opened. Countless cameras instantly rushed into the view. The first sentence recorded was that "tell her to leave." The agent covered her face. The director pursed his lips. The parents were even more frightened, their faces pale. The bullet screen exploded instantly. "The prince is worthy of his name. What a great start. Very good. I thought it was sisterly and brotherly love. I didn't expect a family of stars to have a throne to inherit." Could it be that he was scolding Dad? Right. P.S. 50 cents per message. Group sending to whitewash. The father forced a smile, but it seemed pale and powerless. "Sui, you must not scold your sister. Quickly apologize to your sister." The mother made a quick decision. "Sui, you didn't mean it. Did you? You're young. Were those words taught by your grandparents?" The father immediately understood the mother's meaning, sadly patted my shoulder. "Song Bao, Dad apologizes for your brother. He has been spoiled by his grandparents since birth. Unlike you who have parents to teach." I almost laughed out loud. I don't know if my grandparents are healthy enough to carry this black pot. "Dad, don't apologize. I didn't blame my brother. But if Dad had taken my advice to bring my brother back sooner, he wouldn't have been so estranged from you." I threw the pot back and got up to pull the little fatty into the middle of my parents, taking the initiative to switch positions, and comfortingly patted my little brother's plump face. "Brother, you sit in the middle with Mom and Dad. They just forgot about you because they were used to being close to me. I apologize to you, okay?" Shisui's mind right now is not enough to taste the deep meaning of my words, but he instinctively felt uncomfortable. He was certainly the center of the world. It felt like my words were charity to him. Moreover, the parents' hasty training couldn't cover the grandparents' day and night brainwashing. He instinctively knocked off my hand, touching his cheek. "You're lying. I'm the son closest to Mom and Dad. Who do you think you are? You'll get married sooner or later. You're a liability." As soon as the words came out, there was a gasp of breath in the room. Both agents had turned their backs and dared not look anymore. But the director was quite happy. Melodramatic situations had viewership and popularity. However, the parents' faces changed drastically, as if they had fallen into an ice cellar. "The child is young. Grandparents spoil him. Lack of parental companionship." None of these excuses could explain Shisui's futile words. Even the persona they desperately shaped was at risk. For the future and heat, the father decisively made a move. "Shut up. Is this how you talk to your sister? You really have been spoiled by your grandparents. Go back to your room and think over what you've done." My little brother was stunned by my father's angry shout. As the youngest child in the house, he had always gotten whatever he wanted. Why doesn't Dad like him because of a crappy show? He instinctively turned to look at me and found me laughing. Shisui was completely enraged. It was all my sister's fault. He charged at me fiercely, his cheeks shaking with rage. "It's all your fault. You've stolen Mom and Dad's love from me. I don't need a big sister. You can go. This is my dad. My mom. This is my home. My house." Severe pain shot through my leg, and I fell down as if in disbelief. Tears instantly filled my eyes, rolling down my cheeks. I employed my best emotional performance. "Little brother, you." The parents didn't expect their son to lose his temper on the show, and amidst their surprise, traces of anger were unavoidably showing. The word of mouth accumulated over the previous episodes may all be lost. At the crucial moment, the mother was even tougher. She directly picked up the little brother and, despite his screaming, threw him into the room. "You reflect on yourself in the room. When you apologize to your sister, you can have dinner." Speaking, she too shed tears, pretending to be regretful and painful, helping me up. "I'm sorry, Song Bao. I neglected to teach your brother after giving birth to him, and I was too busy with work." I was suddenly struck by the scent of perfume on my mother, the same as the director, but I understood. Sure enough, she is deserving of the Golden Supporting Actress. Now I have to act with her on the same stage. "Mom, I don't blame you. Just being by your side all these years has made me very happy. Sometimes I felt sorry for my brother. But, can you not ignore me for my brother? I casually switched positions, allowing the camera to capture my helpless and pathetic look. As it turns out, in terms of acting skills, I have a bit more talent than her. She didn't expect me to be such a good actress, not even angry when I was pushed over, and her brain couldn't keep up for a moment. This caused her expression to be a bit stiff, and the audience quickly caught the flaws. Of course not. Songbo is Mom's favorite. There's a reason why my father couldn't make it as a golden supporting actor. He was one beat slow to shed tears and apologize to me, swearing that I would always be their favorite child, and brother could only be second. A good drama did render the director speechless. Those in the know thought he was shooting a reality show. Those who didn't know thought it was NPM melodrama. The chaotic morning just passed like this. At noon for lunch, the mother prepared the lunch early and let my grandparents send it to their grandson from the window. In public, however, she acted like a strict mother, not allowing my brother to eat at the table. Children won't skip a meal, but they must understand the principles of life. Today, no one is allowed to send him food, not even a drop of water. I could already smell the aroma of the food coming from my brother's room, so I purposely left a chicken leg. And while the parents were washing dishes and showing off their love, I snuck into my brother's room, with the cameraman following behind. Little brother, look, I brought you a chicken leg. The door opened, the Peking duck in Shisui's plate, the potato chips sprinkled all over the ground, and Fatichu happy water with ice cubes made both of us stand still. I pretended to be clueless and quickly blocked the camera. Nothing. Let's go out quickly. Don't disturb my brother's reflection. I don't know if it's because my grandparents promised something, but Shisui confidently showed off to me. Who cares about your big chicken leg? My mom ordered me Peking duck. Dad bought me my favorite potato chips. And grandparents say you'll see what's coming after the show. Father and mother heard the noise from the room and immediately dropped their dishes. They hurried to the room door. Looking at me, they were angry and didn't understand why their daughter always caused trouble. Just when they wanted to say, "Why are you always picking on your brother?" they noticed the camera was blocked by their daughter. The words on the tip of her tongue made a detour and again aimed at the chubby son. "Who gave you the roast duck and chips?" The little brother was stunned. Wasn't it from them? Why ask who it was from? Before the little brother could answer, the mother answered on her own. "It's from your grandparents again. Isn't it? I've said it so many times. Don't always spoil the children." But they just don't listen. The father also followed suit. "This can't go on. We need to talk to Mom and Dad." Fortunately, the agent was smart enough to give the grandparents a heads up in advance. The two elderly people looked unfriendly as they watched their son and daughter-in-law make trouble. "Dad, Mom, did you send the food to Sui?" The two elders were wronged but couldn't say a word. On one hand was their son's career, on the other their own dignity. In the end, the old couple took a step back and willingly took the blame. It was us. Now, the mother had found a great excuse to vent. She had long disliked her in-laws. She blamed them for spoiling their son and causing a rift between them. So she started to scold them. "Do you realize that what you're doing is harming Sui? It's because of your bad habits that Sui has picked them up too. Eating breakfast in bed without brushing teeth, sleeping with candy in the mouth, throwing tantrums when upset. I'm really fed up with you." As the mother scolded, she got more and more excited. Seeing his wife's anger was real, the father stepped in. Enough. Let's talk it out. Don't lose your temper. My parents are in their 70s. Let's leave them some dignity." However, this kind of appeasing attitude only made the mother explode like firecrackers. "Dignity? When have your parents ever given me any dignity? Don't think I don't know they're trying to drive a wedge between me and Sui. You don't care because your parents wouldn't badmouth you." The sibling conflict was not resolved. Husband and wife conflict surfaced. For the first time, the father was scolded by his wife on camera, utterly humiliated. So he decided to expose his wife's shortcomings. Haven't you been trying to drive a wedge between me and our daughter as well? Isn't it just for more screen time? In the end, you are afraid that my popularity would interfere with your plans. Don't think I don't know where your role in the S Plus Grand production came from. Isn't it just? Slap. The crisp slap left everyone dumbfounded. The mother was grinding her teeth, her eyes reddening, and she slapped the father in resentment. The show was forced to pause a second time. The agent quickly came on stage to mediate. I took a small step back, a hint of mockery in my eyes. The father was indeed not wrong. In the previous life, the mother had warned me not to talk to the father too much, and especially not to praise him in front of the camera. The two had been in the industry for over 20 years. Yet the mother remained a popular supporting actress while the father was always doing small roles. As a result, the mother was the one in charge at home, with the father constantly flattering and agreeing with her. If the father rose in popularity, the mother certainly wouldn't be able to suppress him. So the couple's conflict was always present. But I believe the one to lower their head first will still be the father, because their interests were aligned. Sure enough, half an hour later, he came out of the room, and with a few words he pacified the mother. They decided to issue an apology and resume the live broadcast in an hour. Just in case, the father sternly warned the son, in the future, you're not allowed to listen to your grandparents and scold your sister. Understand? Children, of course, don't understand. In the previous life, Sui only got closer to his parents after he grew up and understood the situation, because he knew if he wanted to get into the entertainment industry, he needed his parents. His grandparents were useless. When he grew up, he would rather attend variety shows than go to the hospital to see his grandparents for the last time. He even marketed his dedication to filming over attending their funeral. He got berated by sharp-eyed internet users who discovered this. However, he is still a child now, and a child's main trait is doing whatever he pleases. I will swear, I love my grandparents. They never scold me. Only Dad is the most annoying. You all scram. I just need Aunt Jo for the show. You all are useless. I can't help but be shocked. I was wrong, thinking that my brother's cold-heartedness was developed after growing up, and noticing the complex relationships between adults. I didn't expect it to be congenital. What a lack of respect. Upon hearing this, my father was both heartbroken and furious. He didn't know what to say for a moment. In the end, he decided to lock his son in his room until his temper subsided. I was taken back to my room by my father's manager, Brother Zhu. His eyes were sharp and he spoke directly. You are really something. Without the camera. I didn't bother to pretend and replied indifferently. Thank you for the compliment. You are really suitable for the industry. Popular, good-looking, and have good audience ratings. You have it all. However, I shook my head firmly. Who likes to always deal with people's deceitful smiles and manipulations? Not interested. Brother Zhu sighed. My fate is so hard. Those I sign contracts with don't have potential, and those with potential refuse to sign contracts. He didn't persuade me any further, and left after leaving me his business card. I threw the business card into the trash, opened the test papers on the table, and started answering the questions. When the focus is on the test paper, the pain would lessen. I completed 3 sets of test papers in one breath. Although the error rate was high, my enthusiasm did not die. Knock, knock, knock. Song Bao, are you done resting? It's time to record the show. Zhou's sister opened the door and praised me for doing my homework. I collected my emotions and walked out. As soon as I stepped out of the room, I saw my parents sitting on the sofa, hugging and crying. My father was confessing. My mother was forgiving. They were both apologizing, and they reconciled. Born in a star's family has its perks. There's no need for TV shows when you have dramatic love stories at home. Upon seeing me, both of them started apologizing and confessing. The whole day was stirred, and the house was warm again. Both parents decided to cook a big meal together. This time, they really locked their son out and did not allow my grandparents to send food. I took this chance to sneak back to my room and continue with my homework. The cameraman followed me in. He was hoping to capture some exciting content, but ended up filming me answering questions. After finishing the questions, I tittied up the table, picked up my phone, and checked the real-time trending topics. Today was the busiest day for topics about my parents in the entertainment industry. The whole top 10 trends were about them. Daughter's slave persona. New crown prince of entertainment. Get her out of here. Mysterious resources for Song Mom's supporting actress role. Song Dad is a muddled mess. Breakup of celebrity couple. The comments below were mostly hate comments. Since my parents didn't have many fans, they couldn't control these comments. This is what they get for favoring sons over daughters. Even though their son was raised by his grandparents, there's no excuse for him to bully Song Bao. Damn, are celebrity couple revelations this intense? Don't stop. Keep going. I casually scrolled and read these comments without hesitation under the live broadcast camera. The bullet screen comments started to increase again. Good girl. Don't look. They're hate comments. I can't imagine how heartbroken Song Bao must be after reading these. Good girl. You need to focus on your studies. I liked this comment and put down my phone, ignoring the new wave of public opinion. During dinner, my parents were serving each other food and serving me as well. In my past life, I always thought that the intangible happiness was also a form of happiness. I desired to seize it but fell hard into an abyss in the end. But now, I could only feel a fishbone stuck in my throat. I took a few bites of the rice and put down my chopsticks and bowl. Although my parents have done their best to vary the loving couple in front of the camera, savvy netizens are no longer buying it. Seeing their affection even feels nauseating, polluting the viewer's eyes. Many brands saw that the couple lost their value and proposed to terminate the contract one after another. 7 to 8 couples' endorsements dropped in just one night. That caused them to hustle. And in the end, the spotlight fell on me. In the evening, my parents came to my room, their expressions grave. My mother spoke first. What were you doing in your brother's room? Would I let my own son starve? Now you've messed everything up. You have to sort it out. Otherwise, you won't even have money for school. My father agreed. Your mom's right. We've spoiled you too much and made you heartless. I found it amusing. How to solve? The audience isn't foolish. My mother was full of confidence. Of course it's you begging us to make up, giving us gifts casually, and then crying in front of the camera not to let mom and dad split up. The audience may not believe that your father and I are in love, but they must believe that we, as a couple, would reconcile for our daughter. Clap, clap, clap. I clapped my hands. Quite intelligent indeed. For the sake of the couple's interests, the daughter was pushed out as a human shield. I became the sinner, but my parents benefited infinitely from it. I already had a countermeasure in my heart, but I had to pretend to agree on the surface. Dad, Mom, you guys are really smart. My mother was satisfied with my attitude. Then get ready quickly. Perform well tomorrow. After they left, I climbed out of the window to the balcony, and from the balcony to my mother's room. I entered the password, opened the safe, and took out the sealed phone. My mother has always been cautious, and changes her phone to contact when she has ambiguous relations with the director and investors. I typed a line and sent it to the director. Thinking about it, I copied and pasted it to another unknown top contact. Finally, I put it back as it was, retraced my steps back to the room, and continued to do my homework. At 10 o'clock in the deep night, I was lying in bed, sleepless. After the shooting, my father took the excuse to go out for a drink and hasn't returned till now. Only my brother, I, and my mother were left in the room. When there came ambiguous sounds from the next room, I called the photographer bro who was sleeping in the car, saying there's a thief in the house, hoping he would bring a few people over, and specifically told him not to bring the camera. But the crew will only consider the popularity of the program. Catching a thief is best done with the participation of netizens. So he brought a few people from the team with the camera. I put down the phone and called my agent sister Jo and brother Zhu, saying there's a thief in the house, and Dad's not here. Both of them told me to lock the door immediately and they would be right over. At 10:30, the photographer bro walked in. The ambiguous sounds in the room got louder and mixed with coarse growls. I took a deep breath and rushed out of the room, crying with red eyes and full of tears. Bros, you finally arrived. Please save my mother. She was hit by the thief and cried. The photographer bro always felt something was wrong, but seeing the child's tears he had no choice but to rush with us. Mother, don't be afraid. I'm here to save you. I, together with the photographer bro, rushed towards the room. Bang! The door collapsed, and shrill screams filled the room instantly. Get out of here. Out. Mom. What's wrong? Mom. I'm here to save you. Why are you filming? Put it down. Director. The chaotic crying mixed with men's curses. Clothes scattered all over the ground. I and the photographer bro were both stunned, like terrified quails. I was pretending, but the photographer bro was real. The team member at the door quickly cut off the live stream, but it was too late. Midnight netizens who stayed up late still saw this dirty and chaotic scene. The barrage was gone, but the trend started. Actor Zhang Hui had an affair with the director of Family Treasure. It was a threesome. Insomnia in the middle of the night is indeed a blessing. Who can save my eyes? Even 84 disinfectant can't cleanse it. Help. Am I hallucinating? There seems to be more than 2 people on the bed. I testify. I saw the third one. What a wild play. At this moment, I also saw a man desperately crawling under the bed. I was truly shocked. At the time, I thought the director didn't have time to edit the film, so I informed others. I didn't expect everyone to be free in the middle of the night. Yet another sleepless night. When the agent arrived, it was already beyond redemption. Not only the mother, but also the director was dragged into the mess. Whether the variety show can continue filming has become uncertain. In this chaos, I returned to my room. Inevitably, I remembered the last life when I drank the beverage and lost consciousness. When I woke up, my bedside was surrounded by reporters and cameras. Countless flashlights made it impossible for me to open my eyes. Before I could figure out what was happening, my mother's slap landed on my face. She frantically ripped off the quilt on me and beat my head, cursing, "How could I have a shameless daughter like you? How can you be so cheap? Can't you live without a man?" Later, news spread that I willingly fell in love with a punk on the street. However, just 1 month later, the mother starred in a billion-dollar blockbuster movie. I became the street rat, receiving death threats daily. In the morning, I woke up from the bed. Just as I stepped out of the room, I saw my mother with bloodshot eyes, disheveled hair, and several empty wine bottles scattered around her feet. I approached and pretended to comfort. "Mom, it's okay. Dad is still with us. He waited in your room for a long time yesterday, but unfortunately you didn't see him." The logic of my words is not strong, but my mother doesn't have much rationality left. She got the point and grabbed my collar and asked, "Your father came to my room yesterday?" I nodded. "Did you see what he was doing?" I thought for 2 seconds. No, but I heard the sound of opening the box. She rushed back to the room like a madwoman. So it was him. It was him. She checked her phone and sure enough, there were 2 messages that she didn't send, apart from Shijunda, her husband. She couldn't imagine who else knew her secret. They agreed to whitewash the girl together, but he dared to step on her to whitewash himself. Want to abandon me and ascend alone? Impossible. I stood outside the room, watching my mother's madness of beating the bed and biting the quilt. And I clearly realized for the first time that there were indeed devils disguised as humans. The router at home was smashed by the mother, including her cell phone. She was escaping, not daring to look at the comments on the internet, and even more dare not to answer the phone from the agent. I turned on my phone, and the agent company had already issued a notice of termination. The director apologized for insinuating that my mother seduced him. He deeply regretted failing his family. My father posted and deleted on Weibo, and finally expressed his sorrow to tackle this tough time with his wife. This move indeed whitewashed him a lot, and many people praised him for being a real man with compassion and integrity. As for the man who crawled under the bed, he hasn't shown up yet and there's no news. But being able to appear on Mother's top list, he shouldn't be a simple person. I opened my father's Weibo, pretending to be happy, and showed it to my mother. "Mom, look, Dad said he won't leave us. He will weather the storm with you." Upon hearing this, my mother scoffed coldly, picked up her phone, and after watching a video on it, she burst into hysterical laughter, laughing madly yet despairingly. She held my shoulders and shook me. "He's nothing but a hypocrite. He destroyed me and now he wants to step on me to build his image. You are not allowed to call him Dad. Do you hear me?" Afterwards, she let go of me, opened up her phone's album to find a video, and without saying a word, she sent it out. Once the video was successfully uploaded, she broke into fits of laughter once again. I'd love to see how he turns this around. A couple is supposed to stick together. He won't be able to fly alone when disaster strikes. A mocking smile curled up at the corner of my mouth. Indeed, they were a couple, each holding leverage against the other, in a private room of a bar. Immediately after Xianxia smeared his wife's reputation, a director called him to discuss a potential collaboration. Overjoyed, he invited a bunch of internet celebrities to celebrate. His fair-weather friends all congratulated him on his success and his escape from his aging wife. Some girls even tried to curry favor with him in hopes of climbing the social ladder. Just when he was on cloud 9, a voice from the corner caught his attention. "Hey brother Jun, your wife's slamming you online." "What?" He hastily pulled out his phone. The first trending news wasn't about his wife's affair. Instead, it was Xianxia's late-night nude chat. Upon clicking in, he was faced with the footage of his chat with an internet celebrity. The crucial parts were mosaiced. His mood to party was completely spoiled. In a fluster, he drove home. During the drive, he received a message from the director stating that his role has been replaced. Looking forward to the next cooperation. Damn fence-sitters. At Villa 9, I sat on the steps outside, occasionally looking up at the sky. It was a beautiful day. "Where's your mom?" My father couldn't wait to unbuckle his seatbelt before his car had even come to a halt. I pointed to the house. Inside the room, she posted something on Weibo, then drove me out, not wanting to be disturbed. Just as expected, it was her, fuming. My father stormed into the house. I continued to sit on the steps basking in the sun. Before long, the sounds of cursing, screaming, and the shattering of porcelain could be heard from inside the house. There were even sounds of doors being broken down and a child's crying. I calmly took out a bottle of cola. Took a sip. I felt at peace. Then, I slowly poured the entire bottle of cola onto the ground. This was in memory of my past life, my unjust death. A month later, my parents were both dropped by their management company. Several brands were demanding penalty fees from them for breach of contract. Videos of the two of them were being widely shared online, and netizens even gave them the endearing title of the mad couple. The strange thing was, despite constantly talking about divorce, they were still married to each other, probably afraid their partner would make a comeback and leave them behind. The brands that were longing for a payout had them cornered. They didn't have the money to pay the large penalty fees, and saw me as a potential solution. However, I was prepared and arranged to live with my grandparents and study there. My grandparents were humble school teachers. My mother had excellent high school grades, but got sidetracked when a talent scout found her and she started acting. She ultimately failed her college entrance exam, even gambled away 200,000 yuans from my grandmother in the process, nearly giving my grandmother a heart attack. Hence, she seldom visited my grandparents and was afraid they might expose her past and ruin her acting career. When I first approached my grandfather, he didn't trust me because I too made TV appearances. He thought I was a liar just like my mother. It wasn't until I signed a guarantee, promising to never enter the entertainment industry again, begging them to take me in and support my education, and I would pay them back double the amount for my tuition and living expenses after I started working. The two old folks eventually agreed to my request, moved by my sincerity. Just don't end up like your mother. Focus on your studies and don't worry about the money. We won't be needing you to pay us back. Just like that, under my grandfather's stern authority, my parents were forced to accept reality, and they no longer dared to pressure me into acting to repay the debt. In September, with my backpack on my back, I returned to my long-lost school, filled with a sense of familiarity. My classmates looked at me with curiosity like I was some exotic monkey, yet none dared approach me to strike up a conversation. At the start of the new term, we got to choose our own seats and desk mates. Even the seats next to the trash cans were taken, but the one next to me remained empty. I didn't lack companionship or good friends, so I didn't take it to heart. That was until a black school bag clattered on the table, and a cool-looking boy wearing Air Jordans stood before me. Your she song? The song. Bow? As the last two words slipped out, I heard muffled laughter spread across the classroom. I also felt a sense of embarrassment. I lifted my head to meet his youthful gaze. Just call me she song. The boy held out his hand. I'm Wei Jiren, and if nothing goes wrong, I'll be your desk mate. Understood? Little brat. I reached out and shook his hand. I didn't take him seriously. In the new term, I buried myself in studying, gradually bridging the gap between me and my classmates. They discovered that I wasn't as aloof as I appeared on TV. I would even help carry water and snacks, and they began to accept me. Kids of this age, carefree and playful, were a stark contrast to my past life. I spent most of my time off school and learning how to read people's emotions. The richness of my current life seemed unreal. However, unexpected incidents seemed to have their way of coming around. Following my victory in the 800-meter race during the school sports day, a group of girls from another class came to our class to pick a fight. Oh, isn't this the big star? Why are you participating in a sports day? Could it be because your parents had an affair, lost their backing, and are forced to return to school? As soon as these words were out, many in the class started to retort. Are you mad? What are you doing in our class? Su King, watch your mouth. My deskmate was even more direct and quickly closed the back door, almost hitting the girl's face with it. But the girl was bolder, running to the podium and publicly provoking me. In my previous life, this would be characterized as cannon fodder. Seeing this, I sighed. Isn't it good to just study? Why such mind games? She song. Do you or do you not admit that your parents had an affair? Looking at the shouting girl on the stage, I got up and locked her neck with my arm, swiftly dragging her out of the classroom and towards the toilet. Half an hour later, the girl emerged with red eyes and a frightened expression. I washed my hands and walked out nonchalantly, facing everyone's curious eyes. I waved and said, It's nothing, she confessed. Wei Jiren asked, What did you do? I replied, I presented facts, reasoned, and in the end, she confessed, presenting facts, I showed how I could break a mop with a kick. Reasoning, I warned her not to provoke me, or she would end up like the mop. Confessing, she trembled and begged for mercy. Everything went smoothly and reasonably. However, my deskmate had an I don't believe you look on his face. I was calm and said, Indeed, my parents are not upright, but I am serious about studying. I know, my deskmate replied nonchalantly while spinning his pen. If you know, then don't distract me. Hurry up and give me back my notebook. My deskmate laughed. I know your parents aren't upright. I gave him a quizzical look. Suddenly he explained, My dad was the one under your mom's bed that night. My eyes widened in surprise and I gasped at the unexpected news. However, my deskmate didn't seem to care. It's only thanks to that situation that my mom was able to divorce successfully, secure the assets, and now it's just me and my mom. I didn't know what to say, so I focused on my work to relieve my anxiety. During middle school and high school, I maintained a friendship with Wei Jiren. We would catch up over meals occasionally. My parents haven't given up on me, their little cash cow, and constantly urged me to return to show business. Even if you graduate from top universities like Tsinghua or Beta, how much can you earn in a month working a regular job? In the entertainment industry, just one endorsement can get you millions. What is the point of studying so much and wasting time? They would argue. I chose to respond with action, rather than words. It's extremely important. At least I won't disgrace myself in front of the whole world like you both, I would retort. In my second year of high school, my grandparents tried helping me apply to foreign universities. I was fortunate to secure 2 offers. Wei Jiren asked if I wanted to go with him for some company. I retorted, "How are you sure that we can both get into the same school?" He had no response but simply showed his offer letters. "You got offers from 5 universities," I exclaimed in awe and surprise. Apparently, our luck held out and we both received offers from the same university. However, my parents quickly learned about my impending study abroad. Under the pretense of a family reunion, they insisted I visit one last time before leaving. I was apprehensive but was eventually convinced by my grandparents, promising it would be a while before we saw each other again. However, upon receiving my orange juice, which I suspected was laced, my anxiety turned into chilling realization. My past self was flamboyant and had made enemies of a budding actress and her patron. They conspired with my parents, who shamelessly betrayed me and pushed me into the abyss. Would they do the same this time around? Looking at the orange juice and the tightly locked door, I threw the juice towards my mom. "Why don't you drink it?" Her smile faded as she tried to explain herself, only to be interrupted by Shisui, who appeared and tried to drag me towards the locked room. Why bother talking to her? Just lock her up for a few days. Take some pictures. She won't dare disrespect you again, he suggested with my parents' approval. I smashed my glass onto his head and sirens wailed from outside. It was Wei Jiren rushing towards me from his car. In front of my astonished parents, I unveiled the hidden camera I had been wearing. It had been recording everything. Ignoring Wei Jiren, I walked towards the locked door and kicked it open with all my might. Sure enough, I revealed a sleazy, middle-aged male director that had been lurking behind it. Wei Jiren burst into the room and immediately started beating the sleazebag. Seeing my parents' dodging gaze, I knew I had been right not to trust them. The police took them away for the charge of poisoning. This incident caused a massive stir on the internet, and my parents were sentenced to 3 years in prison, forever banned from returning to showbiz. Before leaving for the foreign country, I visited my mother, who had aged an extra decade in prison. With a vacant gaze, she looked at me through the glass and smirked coldly before picking up the phone. "Idiot, I'll be your forever stains. You'll always be pointed at for your entire life." I calmly picked up the phone and said, "7649, then hung up and walked away. My mom looked confused, then widened her eyes in realization, pounding on the glass and screaming at me. "What does it mean? Explain. What do you mean?" 7649, the password to her safe. She thought it was cracked by her husband. I walked away resolutely, without looking back. The next day, Wei Jiren and I boarded a plane to an overseas journey. During university, I started a travel account, posting travel videos from all over. I gradually gained a fan base and even managed to secure sponsorships. Upon graduation, I used the fan base from this account to land a job in a media company. The year I graduated, Wei Jiren officially earned the title of my boyfriend. Thanks to his relentless efforts, my travel videos now featured another person. Although he seldom appeared on camera, more often than not, he was behind the scenes helping me with filming and brainstorming new ideas. I intentionally avoided catching up on news from home, but chats with classmates always contained the latest gossip. My parents had been released from prison, but their inability to pay for breach of contract got them entangled in new lawsuits. Netizens no longer called them the crazy couple, but rather termed them wildly evil. The entertainment industry has completely abandoned them. Even Shisui was collectively boycotted, and when he couldn't act, he started his influencer account. The account's name even had to correlate with me, Shisong's only little brother. Don't worry, Songbao. I have mobilized our classmates to report his account. Every time he tries to exploit you, we'll report him. My heart warmed up instantly. Thank you. It's my luck to have met all of you. I hung up the phone. Looking up, the sky was filled with the aurora, and looking down, there's warmth in my embrace. Life is long and time is slow. Enjoying the present, walking hand in hand.